Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you think building a formidable physique is just about lifting heavy and eating literally everything in sight, well, you're in for a serious paradigm shift today. We are bridging the gap between sports nutrition and gut health to give you a true biological blueprint for sustainable gains. Let's get right into it. So, you might be eating big to get big, right? But without the right strategy, you could inadvertently be wrecking your metabolic health and your digestive system. It's incredibly common in the fitness space to just crush massive amounts of calories, protein, and carbs during a bulking phase without a second thought about where that food is actually going. But here's the reality check. How you feed your body dictates exactly how you feed the trillions, yes, trillions, of microorganisms living in your gut. If you ignore them, you might just find yourself gaining excess body fat, dealing with systemic inflammation, and feeling completely sluggish all the time.
And that's exactly why we have to establish a solid foundation before worrying about the tiny details. Focusing on advanced supplements, trying to hit magic macro numbers, or stressing over the perfect pre-workout timing before you've mastered your overall energy balance and basic gut health, that is literally putting the cart before the horse. The horse wants to pull the cart, but, it can't do it from behind. We absolutely have to get the foundational context of our diet locked in first. Otherwise, we're just spinning our wheels and compromising our internal ecosystem.
Okay, here is the biological blueprint we're going to cover today. 1. The calories and macros. 2. Tracking muscle versus fat. 3. Enter the gut microbiome. 4. Fiber and dietary protein. 5. Timing and periodization. And finally, 6. Supplements for gut health. Let's jump right into section 1, the calories and macros. Before we even touch the microbiome, we have to establish energy balance. Now, what's really interesting is that your capacity to gain mass physically changes the longer you've been training. If you're a beginner, you can aim to gain about 1 to 1.5% of your body weight per month. But highly trained advanced lifters, they actually have to slow down their rate of weight gain to up to just 0.5% per month. Why? Because an advanced drug-free lifter simply cannot build muscle as quickly as a complete novice. If you try to push the scale up too fast when you're advanced, that excess caloric intake isn't magically turning into muscle. It's going to seamlessly convert right into excess body fat. So pacing your caloric intake based on these body weight trends is absolutely vital. Which brings us perfectly to section 2, tracking muscle versus fat. Understanding the caloric density of different tissues changes literally everything about how we diet. So the crucial number you need to remember here is 800. There are only about 800 calories in a pound of hydrated muscle. This actually shocks a lot of people. It's because a pound of muscle is really only about 1/3 protein. The rest is just water and minerals. Because protein has less than half the energy per gram that fat does, the actual stored energy inside a pound of muscle is surprisingly low. Yes, building it is metabolically costly, but the tissue itself doesn't hold a massive amount of calories. Now contrast that with 3,500. That is the widely accepted amount of calories stored in a single pound of body fat. Because adipose tissue is just extremely energy dense, if you overeat by 500 calories a day, mathematically you're going to pack on about a pound of fat per week. This stark contrast between 800 and 3,500 beautifully illustrates exactly why your weight gain has to be slow, steady, and heavily controlled. That is, if you want to prioritize lean mass and keep that body fat at bay. All right, on to section 3. Enter the gut microbiome. Just when you think you've got a firm handle on the math of calories in and calories out, well, here comes the plot twist. Your gut is a highly, highly complex ecosystem. It's populated by massive communities of bacteria, viruses, and fungi. But we're primarily going to focus on the major phyla, like Firmicutes and Bacteroidetes. These bacteria literally dictate how your body harvests energy from the food you eat. They process what you don't digest, they modify intestinal permeability, and they even release hormones. So you aren't just feeding your biceps, you're feeding this entire intricate ecosystem. And this leads us to a concept you really need to understand, the F/B ratio. Maintaining a healthy ratio of Firmicutes to Bacteroidetes is crucial. Why? Because Firmicutes are exceptionally good at extracting calories from food. If your gut is overabundant in Firmicutes, your body is going to absorb way more calories from the exact same meal than someone with a balanced gut, and that paves the way straight to inflammation and fat gain. Bacteroidetes, on the other hand, specialize in breaking down bulky plant fibers into energy. This ratio is so important that scientists literally look at it as an obesity biomarker. Let's move into section 4, fiber and dietary protein. So, a balanced diet during a mass phase is an absolute must.
A diet rich in animal protein, which is totally standard in bodybuilding for muscle repair, consistently increases the level of bacteroids, but it can actually decrease the abundance of your carbohydrate fermenting microbes. Plant proteins, conversely, significantly increase beneficial strains like lactobacillus. Now, here's a crazy fact. If you drop dietary fiber from your mass-gaining diet, you deprive your gut microbiota of their external energy source. Do you know what happens then? The bacteria are forced to use endogenous substrates, meaning they literally start eating the mucus that lines your colon. Yeah. So incorporating fiber provides the necessary prebiotics to fuel your good bacteria and protect your digestive tract. But hey, it's not all mornings. There's a fascinating study out of Ireland looking at professional rugby players, and it proves that athletes combining high-protein diets, specifically around 22% of their total calories, with intense exercise can actually achieve superior microbial diversity. Compared to non-athletes, these players showed massive diversity, specifically a bacteria called Akkermansia, and that strain is directly linked to lower rates of metabolic disease and obesity. So intense training combined with the right protein intake actively creates a robust, diverse microbiome. It's a total win-win.
Moving on to Section 5, timing and periodization. So how do the pros do it? Experienced competitive bodybuilders use advanced nutrient periodization techniques to align their diet with both their training demands and their gut health. By strategically timing your carbohydrates, having high-carb days aligned with your hardest, most intense training sessions, and low-carb days on lighter sessions or rest days, you achieve two huge things. First, you ensure high-carb availability when your muscles actually need the glycogen for peak performance. Second, you promote metabolic flexibility and give your digestive system a much-needed break from processing massive amounts of food. This is absolutely key for maintaining intestinal balance over a long bulking cycle.
And of course, we cannot forget our micronutrients. These vitamins and minerals act as the essential components for the biochemical systems that sustain your energy during these long-term gaining cycles. But what's truly mind-blowing is that your gut bacteria actually synthesize essential nutrients for you, including vitamin B12 and vitamin K. A healthy microbiome directly contributes to your overall nutritional status and helps maintain the integrity of that intestinal barrier, making sure you can efficiently absorb all that food you're putting down. Finally, let's wrap up with Section 6, supplements for gut health. Look, while your whole food diet, packed with diverse proteins and fibers, is your absolute foundation, incorporating some targeted supplements can drastically improve nutrient absorption and protect you against systemic inflammation. Probiotics, for example, can help repopulate the gut if it's been compromised by stress or a poor diet. And omega-3 fatty acids, they are just incredible for maintaining a healthy inflammatory response in both your joints and your digestive tract. But then there's L-glutamine. This stuff is a true powerhouse for the serious athlete. It's one of the most abundant amino acids in the body, but more importantly, it is the preferred energy source for the cells that line your small intestine. Taking 5 to 10 grams of L-glutamine a day keeps your muscle tissues supplied with amino acids during stressful training, while simultaneously accelerating the healing of your intestinal lining and reversing leaky gut. It's literally a dual-purpose supplement for both the bicep and the bowel. As we start to wrap this up, I want you to hear this quote from the research. It says, "New science reveals that exercise positively influences the gut's balance of bacteria. Exercise effectively lowered the F/B ratio." This is a fantastic reminder. The grueling work you put in at the gym doesn't just build your external musculature. By engaging in intense physical activity, you are actively engineering a leaner, healthier, and more metabolically efficient microbiome on the inside. I really hope this explainer leaves you thinking about your next meal entirely differently. You've got the biological blueprint now, you know how to track calories, you understand that FB ratio, the absolute importance of fiber, and the power of periodization. So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. You know how to feed your muscles, but how will you periodize your nutrition to feed the trillions of microbes fueling your gains? Because true strength isn't just built in the gym, it's cultivated in the gut. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next one.